In Aruba, I did the submarine. I went down there. I would never do it again. There's a lot of things I've done on these cruises that was one and done. Once I look back, I was like, that's probably, it's safe, they say, but if things go wrong in a submarine, you're not going to get out of that. So anyways, I did the submarine. I loved it, but I'm not going to do it again. My name's Gary Dean, and I'm the Blue Hat Bucket List Traveler. Did 34 cruises in 3.5 years, and in that same period, drove all 48 states and 10 provinces. And after this many cruises, you start to notice which ones stand out. I rank them based on itinerary and if they were on my bucket list. The itinerary matters, but most of all, was it what I thought it would be, and was it on the bucket list? Cruise number 5, the Caribbean, the ABC Islands. And I didn't even know what those were. I booked the cruise because if you want to see all of the Caribbean, you have to do there's 3. There's like the Eastern, the Western, and the Southern, I believe is how it goes. But anyways, you got to go around there a few times in order to see all of the Caribbean. And so I was doing that, and I booked this one, and I joined the Facebook group, and they were so excited. This has to be done. It was going San Juan to San Juan, and it's the ABC Islands, the ABC Islands, and I didn't even know what that meant. It's Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. So that's the 3. I was excited for Aruba. I'd heard Aruba for a long time. I actually had a buddy 30 years ago that they nicknamed him Aruba Joe for a while. He had family in Aruba, so he would go there. So I had saw pictures before, and I was excited to see it, the flamingos and everything. So anyways, for me, that was number 5, and yeah, it was wow. And that's number 5, the ABC Islands. Number 4, Alaska. A couple reasons why that one will get on my list. It was my first cruise, and it was easy. I live in Vancouver. I did back then. Now I retired to Thailand, but I lived in Vancouver, and you just got in an Uber and went down and to the port and got on the ship. Like, how easy is cruising? Wow, this is so easy. There's not many cruises go out of Vancouver, so unless you're just going to do Alaska on a loop, you're going to have to start getting on planes and flying to the East Coast. So cruising wasn't that easy after that, but for that one it was, and it was good. I went with my mom. It was my mom's birthday present I gave her in 2022. So that's why we're at 3.5 years now. I'm finishing my cruises. I'm actually doing I just finished the old Panama Canal on the smaller ship, the NCL Jade, so I could go through. I'm on the cruise ship right now. We're heading back up through Central America, 29 days. But back to Alaska. Leaving Vancouver on a sunny day was amazing. My first cruise ship too, so I'm on the NCL Jewel. It's a beautiful ship. It had just been redone right around that time, and it was in amazing shape. And you leave Vancouver port, and you go underneath that bridge, and the sun was just setting. It was just mind-boggling for a first-time cruiser. Alaska on the first one was just, for me, amazing, and then my mom had been an NCL cruiser. That's why I booked NCL. My mom's in her 80s, so she's not up to big, she likes things, what she likes, and we keep it simple that way. I travel a lot with her. She's great to travel with, and so I booked NCL, and I liked it right away. It was easy going. There's no dress code. I didn't have to bring any fancy clothes. I could just wear what I want when I want. We did a bit of specialty dining, so I did bring, one nice set of clothes for that kind of thing, but the rest of it was just t-shirts, jackets, jeans, shorts. Alaska in October, we didn't get any rain. It was sunny the whole time. One time I'll post more stuff about, that whole cruise. It was so amazing, Glacier Bay and just everything, and being in those little towns. And the ship just, pulls right in to the ports, much like the first one, the number 5, the Caribbean, the ship, same thing. It just pulls right into, parks right on Main Street downtown. So pretty nice. You get off and you just walk into town, right? I think there was one that was a little bit a ways away, and they had to take us by bus into town, but it was still maybe 10 minutes, so it wasn't a big deal. So I really enjoyed Alaska. the scenery and the ship and experience with being with my mom. My mom, buy this, don't buy that, look out for that. What's that? Why are they doing that? There's you're wearing a bronze card when you first go on. Now I'm diamond now. So, but I was bronze first cruise, and when you're on your first cruise, they know that because it's a bronze card, and they can sell you things you're not really aware of, what's what, and, you're so excited with everything. And I was so excited on that cruise, I ended up booking a Caribbean cruise, not number 5, but a different one. I went out of Port Canaveral. This was October. I was on the Jewel. In November, I went out of Port Canaveral. And in December, I went on cruise number 3. Number 3, Panama Canal on a big ship. Okay. Now we'll get into that, but there's a reason why you want to do Panama Canal twice. I saw that there's a December cruise, and it was a good price. The longer cruises tend to be, and it was going from Los Angeles, which was nice for me, going West Coast. I had just flown to the East Coast to do cruise number 2 out of Port Canaveral, so that's a lot of traveling from the West Coast. And so this was nice. It was going out of Los Angeles, which is like a 2.5-hour flight for me, easy, and going to Miami through the Panama Canal, and it was on the NCL Bliss, big ship. Had the go-kart track on the roof, the car racing, and so you could do that stuff. And the weather was pretty good in LA, good enough. And then once we got down into Mexico in December, it was warm. It was hot even. I think my phone overheated at the Acapulco Cliff Divers. That's how hot it was down there. But anyways, went through the Panama Canal on the big ship. And to me, I'm crazy that that's ranked number 3, and there's still 2 above it. But Panama Canal for me is the Super Bowl of cruising. They said we're going to be going through, so we're going from Pacific to Atlantic. So we saw Panama, and now we're leaving Panama, and we're going to go do the transit through the Panama Canal, and going to start 5 a.m. I was up at 4. At 4:30, I was up top in the observation lounge. Don't know if they call it a spinnakers on that one or not, but anyways, it's a big observation lounge. And people had slept there to get the good seats. Like, they were in their pajamas. Some of them were still sleeping, but they were going to have the best seats that whole day. And they did. And good on them. Cruise a lot, you hear people, why don't they even rotate out of their spot? Well, because they got up there at midnight, and got that spot. What was nice on the Bliss was the professional photographers were up there from NCL, and they would block off. They had a rope section with the best shot, like right in the middle. And so you could go stand in there, take a couple of your own pictures, and then turn around and they would take your photo. And I ended up buying that photo. They do amazing pictures up there. And then, I'm pretty sure we went out on the bow on that one too, going through and everything. But anyways, that was number 3, Panama Canal on a big ship. Number 2, it's the one I just finished, Panama Canal on a small ship. Reason you want to do it twice, and you want to make sure that it's the small enough ship that it's going to go through the old Panama Canal, is the big Panama Canal. The big ship in the Panama Canal is the new Panama Canal, and it is, they just push you and put you in the locks with tugboats. So that's compared to what we just did. I'm just on my way back now. I went Miami. I'm going Miami to San Diego, 29 days, and we just went down to Lima, Peru, and now we're on our way back. We're in Panama again, actually today, but we're staying in the Pacific. We're not going up in there. We're just people can go do stuff all day, and then we're gonna head through Central America and Mexico and get up into San Diego. But if you do it on the small ship, it was way more exciting because they're pulling you with those little trains, mules they call them. I used to say donkeys. I guess that's another word for mule, but and I might have read that somewhere. But anyways, I was aware of that, and that's why I booked this cruise. And this time NCL Jade, it's a smaller ship, which is a sister of the Jewel, which was my first cruise. I've been on the Jewel since too, on other cruises. But this is the Jade, exact same layout. You know, when they say sister ship, they mean sister ship, like they're like twin sisters. So there's not much difference at all. Maybe a little bit in the color, but everything else pretty much identical setup. And watching those mules work and the Panamanian workers waving at us and the ropes and the whole, I think someone said it takes longer too. I'm not sure. We did it just under 8 hours to get Atlantic to Pacific. So it was a long day. And I got up early again, and the viewing in the top wasn't that great. The windows are, you know, the humidity is pretty crazy. So I ended up, but they did open up the bow. We were out in the bow in the heat doing it. I got lots of videos of that, which at one point I'll show. And that's number 2. And it was amazing. Now, what would be my number 1? Greenland. And I've been to Antarctica. Okay. I've been to Antarctica, but NCL Antarctica out of Buenos Aires, Argentina, does a loop. You don't set foot on Antarctica. You just get very, very close to it. And it was amazing. Miles high of ice and miles long and ice. And it was Alaska times 100, really, as far as ice goes. You know, the natural beauty of Antarctica as well. But Greenland, I got to get off twice. Dock. We're not talking, we weren't doing tender boats. We were docked in Greenland and walking around out there. And it's so amazing, so untouched. Greenland is, yeah, we went from Iceland up through Greenland and then down to New York in July. It was in July, so it was, you know, still, I don't know, 40s or 50s, sunny in Greenland, but warm enough. It was warm enough, and Greenland is beautiful, beautiful. For me, bucket list. You know, I'd been to the bottom of the world in Antarctica. Now I wanted to go to the top of the world. And the captain was good too on that one. When we left Iceland, he made sure he went high enough up so that we could be in the Arctic Circle. And we ended up getting certificates saying that we had been in the Arctic Circle. That's how high up we went. And then we come back down a bit and into Greenland. So yeah, that's my number 1. And like I said again, I did those because they were all bucket list. You know, I wanted to see those, and I did. The one thing I love about cruising is it's easy. It's structured. You unpack. I book my tours with NCL or whatever cruise line I'm on. I've only done NCL and Celebrity, but I book my cruises or my shore excursions with the ship. So I just meet in the theater, go out in the tour, come back to the ship. It's all structured. I'm solo most of the time. So for me, it's just nice structure and easy and very safe. And that's why I love cruising. It's the easy way to travel. So if you've ever wondering about cruising and is it worth it and is it good? For me, absolutely yes. And these 5 cruises were the best proof I could think of to show you.